Oh.
Okay. Drum roll. Everybody give me a drum roll. Ta-da! Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Zeitlin. This is my assistant, Ruby Chase. We drove a really far distance, but in great traffic, to come work with you today. Stephen and I know each other from professional spheres in the dance and performing world. I also was a classical dancer in my first life, because we know that we have many. I was a Joffrey Scholarship student and a Joffrey Concert Group company member. I've also shot a movie in Russia as a classical ballerina with the famed Kirov Ballet at the Mariinsky Theater. And if you Google me, you'll see all kinds of pictures where I could get my legs up a lot higher, but I still do pretty well. Now I am a producer, director, choreographer. I do things all over the world in many different types of dance. I also work with non-dancers, and I manage talent, which is actually how I met Ruby, very much from a class like this, but via videotape. She was submitted to me from a school in Utah, and there were, what, 10 of you?
Yeah, there's 8 people in the class.
And I was doing an assessment, and I thought this girl was outstanding, and next thing you know, now Ruby lives in California, and she's aspiring to be a performer, like some of you. And so Ruby's here both as my guest and my assistant, so she will be sometimes on your side and sometimes on my side, okay? Don't be afraid of me. As you can see, I'm very scary, okay? You can go now.
Okay, thank you. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Now listen, when he gets back, you tell him how fabulous I am, okay? All right. So before we start dancing, I wanted to just give you a little bit of a background about what we're going to do today, because I know it's been kind of a mystery. And the truth is, I was telling Stephen, I've been all over the world doing these types of workshops and in different countries. I've taught in Japan, I've taught in Russia, I've taught in Israel, I've taught in Latin America. And so every time I'm in front of people, and I've had boys, girls, men, women, and kids, the class changes. Because really it's the talent in front of me that justifies what we're going to do in the room. Now most of you are bunheads, right? Sort of based in bunhead of, no, we're not, we're shaking our head, not a bunhead? A fake bunhead? Bunhead by association? My first life I was a bunhead. Now they have a series called Bunheads, so we're officially named, right? Actually the woman who was on Bunheads, Kelly Bishop, and I worked on Broadway together in a show called Scandal, which was the last musical that Michael Bennett created on Broadway. He's the creator of A Chorus Line and Dreamgirls. So I got to work with Treat Williams, who is now on some USA show recurring and used to shoot in Utah on Everwood. And with Jody Mochia, who choreographed Miss Saigon on Broadway, and Bob Avian. A lot of extraordinary people. Jerry Mitchell, who just won a couple Tonys, including for, what's the musical about, The Dumb Blonde? Jerry Mitchell. Very tall, 6'4". So I have been, as a performer, I have been as a person who hires, I have been a person who nurtures and develops talent, and I'm a mom. And I have 2 children of my own, including a teenage daughter now, 13, in her first year of high school. So I get it. I get the nerves, I get the discomfort. You're going to let all of that dissipate, which is why we're starting on yoga mats, okay? And why we're going to do something a little out of the box today. And as we go, I will give you a little bit of wisdom, which I will sprinkle here and there. And by tomorrow, you will all be brilliant experts at the following. You will know how to be in a room, which is a skill. Oh, pretty music. Are we going to compete with that? Is that mine?
No, it's not yours.
Wow, that's loud. You're going to have a sense of poise in an audition. You're going to have a different expectation of what an audition is, because I read all those fabulous things that you wrote about what an audition is, and we're going to talk about that. And you're just going to have a slightly different point of view, which I think is really healthy. Also, I think when you work with a set of teachers all year round, anything So you might take a little bit of what I offer you and you might throw the rest away. You might take everything I say as the gospel, which is great, because Lord knows we should. But really, the bottom line is any new experience is a great experience, even the worst experiences, which Ruby and I were sharing on the way up, some of my worst auditions that I'll never forget, that I have finally grown and gotten past them. And that's how we become better performers, better artists. Now, just by a show of hands, how many of you only take class here and no outside classes? Raise your hand. Okay, so a third. By a show of hands, how many of you take ballet outside of school? And how many of you took ballet before you got into the school? Okay, wow, good. So is it fair to say that your vocabulary is classical dance, in essence? Okay. So some of what I'm going to give you, which I taught in Australia for the last couple of years to their master program, is based in classical dance. But when I was dancing, as a teenager, I left home to dance in New York at 16. I wished I had had the yoga training I have now, because it has saved my body, it has rebuilt my body, and it's also opened up my mind, and it's facilitated all kinds of freedom in learning choreography, because I think dance can be very rigid, especially classical dance. The people that I'm inspired by, I've created some links, and Stephen will forward those to you, Mr. Hyde will forward those to you. And please really look at everything, because I took a lot of time finding it, and I really think it's going to be very inspirational. And things that we'll deal with for 2 days that might still seem very cloudy, in a week when you go back and look at the links, you'll go, ah, that's what Michelle was talking about. Okay? Feel free to call me by my first name. It's okay. My clients call me Miss Michelle, Michelle, all kinds of things. You don't have to call me by my last name. I'm fine with that, okay? And I will eventually get to know all of your names. You're also going to find that I'm going to put camera on you, which for dancers from a classical background can often feel very uncomfortable. That's intentional. You're going to work out of your little comfort zone today, okay? And tomorrow, hopefully, if I'm masterful tonight, we'll be able to watch it on the monitor, and you'll see what you did and see how you've grown and be even better tomorrow, right? Okay, so while I excuse myself to throw on my stretch pants, okay?
I'll start.
You'll start? What are you gonna do?
I'll give him a little salutation warm-up yoga.
You're gonna give him? No, don't do that.